With Ike, Spike, and Fritz, top 11 week rolls on. Ike, how you feeling, brother?
Brother Spike, doing pretty good. Listen, it's a Wednesday. Yesterday was not very good. Last night, meaning, but the fightings.
No.
We'll make it through. Excited about your top 11 list today. Mm-hmm. And wait to get to that.
The real one.
Jackie Baseball, I'm going to just say this.
Here we go.
A line has been drawn in the sand in the clubhouse. Let's figure out which side of the line we're on. Holla at your boy.
Spike already getting heat early for his top 11 list that has not come out yet.
Yeah, that was outrageous. We're sitting here in our common area or whatever, and there was one of our great Odyssey partners was there, and he looks over to me. He's like, "Hey, your top 11 list sucked." I haven't even given it yet.
They know.
I haven't even given it yet.
That was awesome.
And when I said that, he still wanted to argue with me about it. I was like, I legitimately do not credit me with the cameras list.
My initial thought was, hold on. He saw the list already?
No!
I'm like, how did he see the list?
Yeah, it's not.
And then you guys both left. I was still standing there, listening.
Yeah.
And he's like, under his breath, he was talking to his buddy. He's like, he won Super Bowl MVP, and this guy is still... It was so funny.
Love it, man.
Well, it is a big show as far as top 11 week continues. At 2:30, we will reveal from the official list numbers 7 and 6. And what I can tell you about this is that when we reveal 7 and 6, all of a sudden, it's going to be a little bit more about who is where and less about who is on the list, because you'll be able to figure that out. So that happens at 2:30. Larry Anderson joins us at 3. Of course, we'll talk to him about the Castellanos situation. Flyers and 50 with Broads at 3:30. Talk about his list. Oh, my God. I reveal mine at 4. The Eagles Insider of the Year Power Rankings at 4:30. It's almost too much show for one 4-hour period. Ike.
Yes.
I think we have to start with the Castellanos, Rob Thomson situation. This broke during the show yesterday that Rob Thomson pulls Nick Castellanos from yesterday's game because of something he said, or sat him, he didn't start, something he said when he got pulled out of Monday night's game for a defensive replacement. We don't know what he said. We do know that Thompson said it was because of something he said that crossed the line, and Nick Castellanos' response was, at best, a little chilly, right? He said, this is my punishment, I'm not playing. So my question to you is there a chance that this blows up in the Phillies' faces? Like, with a night to sleep on it and think about it, is there a chance that this ends up not working?
Sure. When you say not working, do you mean that this doesn't lead to them?
Maybe it submarines it. Like, maybe Castellanos is like, screw this guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, does it have the opposite effect, I guess, of what Thompson was trying to do?
All right, so here's how I would answer this question, because I don't think it's as simple as answering it in a straightforward black and white fashion. There are more tentacles to this thing, and I think there's a message being sent to Castellanos that his behavior after a managerial decision in the clubhouse was unacceptable and disrespectful to some degree. When you push a mild-tempered man like Rob Thomson to make this type of move, and to actually, they didn't go into details about it, but he gave us enough detail to know he could have very easily said it was a scheduled day off, but they knew that wouldn't have passed. They knew that stuff wouldn't have passed.
Yep.
This guy doesn't take days off, so he wants to play every day. So I think part of it was a message to him, and then also a part of it is a message to the rest of his team. Right? Whether it's indirectly or directly, that this type of behavior, if I decide to make a decision that I think is in the best interest of this team and trying to win, whether you publicly or vocally support it or not, as a team member, you support the decision and move along, right? And it may work out, it may not work out, but what you won't do is disrespect me in front of this team, or disrespect a teammate, if that's what it was.
Yeah, we don't know what he said.
We don't know exactly what it was. Or disrespect another teammate, if that's what he did. So here's what I'll say to that, Spike. If this results in the clubhouse being more fractured and somehow this team craters from this, I'll still give Rob Thomson a pat on the back for this move. Because I don't care. I think the principle is more important than sparing Castellanos' feelings. Because quite frankly, for Castellanos, his feelings has been spared for like 2.5 years here.
That is fair.
His feelings have been spared, right? So Rob Thomson has gone out of his way to support the player and be a player's manager. This is something he's doing like he's done all year long, whether it's sit Bohm, whether it's move Bohm down in the lineup, whether it's move Stott down in the lineup, whether, whether Kyle Schwarber, doesn't get the bat in his most desired spot. Like, he's had to make tough decisions, moving Romano out from being the closer and putting Kirkering in. Like he's had to do that stuff this year, and I'm applauding him for that because for years I criticized him for that. I'm not going to now, when he makes a tough decision, not back him. I back him in this, and if it costs us, so be it. I think him as a manager has to have certain boundaries that he can't compromise for his players. And for this manager who's done nothing but compromise, I believe, and for the benefit of his players for 2 years, this was something, in my opinion, that he must have been pushed to do because it was that egregious. So I'm okay with it.
Speaking of being pushed to do, Jack, Scott Fransky talked a little bit about the decision last night, and here's what he said.
I can tell you that the idea of taking him out of the game defensively, I can almost assure you that Rob Thomson would not do that on the fly without talking to Nick about that first. Nick is an everyday player who plays every inning of every game and loves to do so. And Rob understands that wholeheartedly and loves that about Nick and respects that a great deal about Nick. It definitely wasn't a surprise to Nick when it was put in motion last night. He knew that it was coming. Take that for what it is.
Now, when he said he knew that it was coming, does he mean not starting or being pulled during the game?
I think pulled during the game.
Okay.
So they've had conversations about late in the game, this was something I'm going to have to start doing.
Right. And by the way, 215-592-9494, do you think there's a chance this could blow up the Phillies season? And I know that sounds crazy, but sometimes it's just one thing. And you look back, sometimes it's a bye week that saves your season, right? Sometimes it's a wide receiver saying something about a quarterback and defensive end going on a radio show and airing dirty laundry all over the place. By the way, that could have gone a different way too. The entire AJ, Jalen, Brandon Graham thing, that could have gone a different way too. So I look at this, and on one end, Ike, I agree with you. Like, we have begged Rob Thomson to draw, to the thing you said earlier, draw lines in the sand and be tougher with these guys and set sort of rules. On the other side, I think about it like he's never been this guy. Like, and if I'm Nick Castellanos and I have played for this guy for 3 years and never has anybody been, there's no way it's the first snide comment made in the dugout. And I want to say, by the way, if it comes out what Nick Castellanos said is obviously unacceptable, then it is what it is. But at this point, we don't know what he said.
Right.
We've all been around clubhouses and locker rooms, and there's a lot of awful stuff said in clubhouses and locker rooms and dugouts.
And players firing back at a manager or coach that's happened. But it happens.
We saw Jalen Carter screaming at Nick Sirianni or laughing in his face earlier. So
it happens.
So I start thinking about, like, was this the time and was this the place? Like, first of all, pulling him late in a game, was pulling him in Miami, in front of his family, in a game that you're probably going to win anyway. Like, this is not the playoffs. It's not a game to get into it's not a game to clinch the division or anything like that. It's a game in Miami in the middle of the season. And he doesn't normally do stuff like this. And then to pull him from the lineup, and by the way, publicly say, and I know they're sort of left no choice in saying what happened because people know that Castellanos doesn't just get days off. They can't hide behind it. Like, publicly embarrassing him. That, again, I I agree that at some point Rob Thomson has to lay down the law and has to stand up for himself. What makes me worried is that because he's never done it before, that all of a sudden the players don't know what the rules are and don't know who this guy is and don't know what they're allowed to get away with. And you're in a situation with, this is not a guy that's super valuable, by the way. So if this goes the wrong way and you're heading into a trade deadline where you need to make 2 additions to the team, all of a sudden you're like, well, do I need another right fielder? And if I got to get off this guy's contract, this is going to cost them to get off his contract. This is not a contract that other teams are excited to take on. It's
not Rafi Devers?
No. And by the way, even Devers' contract people were laughing at the Red Sox, and Devers is a guy who is incredibly productive. So the thing that I worry about is that all of a sudden we have a clubhouse that doesn't really know what the rules are. You pissed off one of the clubhouse leaders on the team. And if it goes the wrong way, then, we were just saying yesterday, this is a team that may not have another year in this window. You've taken the final year of the window and closed it potentially. Yeah. So while I get where Thompson's coming from, I guess I would also as a player think, well, like, what the hell? Like, why me? Why now? Why to this extent? Why with this game? Like, why is it this one thing, this one time? Yeah. And why am I being treated differently than a defensive liability at shortstop and a defensive liability at first base and a defensive liability at third base? No offense.
Less errors than Lindor at shortstop.
Shut up.
Yeah. Not a defensive liability at third base. What are you talking about?
Well, okay. But when Otto Kemp was there or whatever. Jack, what do you think about this whole thing? Yeah, Otto Graham.
So I think it could definitely backfire, and I don't believe that this thing's just going to blow over. I know that they tried to say that last night, like, yeah, they're over it now. Well, first off, Castellanos didn't sound over it.
Not last night.
It didn't seem like
yesterday. Yeah,
because I think I would feel better if Castellanos came in and was like, hey, I was wrong. I was in the wrong here and was more remorseful. And he didn't seem that way. He didn't seem it was like that he was remorseful.
Yeah.
And what worries me, the only thing that worries me, I think if it was about Rob Thomson, I think this is fine. But if it was about a teammate, let's say, I know people have thrown out, maybe he was ripping Rojas. Maybe he was ripping one of these other younger players. But if he said something about, well, why don't you take Trey out of the game? Why don't you another star on the team? Then I think that's where the diversion could happen. So I hope it blows over, obviously, but I'm definitely concerned about it not blowing over.
I tell you what, if it doesn't blow over, he needs to blow his ass up out of here.
And I think they will.
Yeah, so then if that's the case, that's the case.
But what worries me about that is okay, now you're trading a prospect to get rid of Nick Castellanos. Mm-hmm. And we're going into a trade deadline, needing to trade for 2 pieces for sure. We need a bat. We need a bullpen piece. All of a sudden, you've made yourself poorer prospect-wise. Yeah. Again, I get where you're coming from. I wonder about the time and the place and the situation and all of that.
This is the time to do it.
You think so?
This is the best time to do it. You're still in the first half of the season. Same thing I said about hitting the retaliating of hitting a batter. By the way, I'm sure you all saw it. Tatis got hit last night. They immediately hit Ohtani. Just saying.
Yep.
People believe in it. Best teams in baseball, they believe in it because it's what you do. So even if it costs you a game, the bigger picture is at stake more here. Because here's what I'll tell you. What's Rob Thomson supposed to do? He gets later in the season, and he wants to make this defensive move. He doesn't. Casty can't get to a ball because of this. Now what? Now we're ripping Rob Thomson for leaving him out there, knowing he's a defensive liability. So the manager is damned if he does, damned if he doesn't, which is why he has to have principles that he believes in and doing what's best for the team and have conviction in that. And if the player can't get on board with that and have it explained to him, he didn't embarrass Castellanos. He's not the first player to be defensively replaced late in the game. We won a World Series with a guy doing that. By the way, that guy gave you 30 and 90 every year. He gave you 30 and 90 every year.
Replaced every game in left
field. And was replaced and won the World Series with it. If this dude can't get on board with that, then he can't be here.
And the manager has to show that he has a backbone if it was about another player on the team.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the biggest This is like trying to solve a math problem and you don't know, one of the numbers. We don't know what he said.
Sure, but if you had to bet, do you think
when they use letters? I hate when they use letters.
Algebra.
In the math.
Yeah. X plus 3 equals 9.
well,
What are we
that's
talking
the
about?
hardo thing they do with the Super Bowl. Just say it's Super Bowl 59.
Yeah,
No,
what are we
I
doing?
like the Roman numerals.
We're not in Rome.
No, yeah. We're in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know you did NFL Europe, but no one cared.
Yeah.
No one cared. I forget what I was going to say.
Oh, you lost it? All right.
Yeah.
215-592-9494. Are you all right with what Rob Thomson did? And do you think there's a chance this could blow up in the Phillies' faces